Boom, 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 boom. Testing, 1, 2, 3. G'day, mate. Shall I throw a pip on the bobby for you? Ripper. Good morning, everybody. How you doing? Happy Friday. Another good day to be alive. Another good day to be a currency trader. Today we're going to trade the Canadian dollar. Yeah. Couple of reasons for that. One, our last plan was buy oil at 40, let it go to 50. Then when we get to 50, sell it back towards 40. All right, so we get up there and we tickled the daily R1 at 49.5. My actual resistance line is 50.13, I think, going off of memory. Throwing in a bunch of other stuff. It could be a little bit higher, but this could be enough. And then we have Canadian news in about an hour. So, how does that sound? Sounds like a reasonable day. Markets are fairly quiet, which is good, and it also means they're trading very technically, which is also very good. Awesome. Awesome possum. So let me remind you, excuse me. Let me remind you that trading Forex is risky. Not appropriate for everyone. Past performance, however, good or bad, is not necessarily indicative of future results. Please always stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term, and never risk money you cannot afford to lose. My name is Wayne McDonald. I'm the Chief FX Market Strategist for TradersWay.com. You're a trader, we're a broker. Let's dance, baby. You can lead. You could choose from an ECN account, a variable spread account, or fixed spread account, depending on the type of trading that you do. And maybe you could spread your money over 3 accounts and have different accounts for different types of trading. Whatever you want, baby, we got it for you. We execute the trades quickly and affordably. How nice, huh? I work with clients every day, 7:30 in the morning, Monday through Thursday. Every Friday here I'm at FX Street for premium members, such as yourself, but of course, every non-farm payrolls as well. Also, Forex Speaker of the Year. Oops. So very nice to be here. Another wonderful Friday. Sorry I missed you last Friday. I was on an airplane over the Congo. Nothing could go wrong, go. I'm in the Congo. I begged them. I'm like, stop the plane. I got to do a webinar at FX Street. Land. What's the major city of Congo? Is that Kinshasa? Land. Anyways. All right, so yeah, oil and Canadian dollar today could be interesting. We'll come back to that later. Me. Me. Okay, couple of things going on. Nothing could go wrong, go. I'm in the Congo. Nobody knows the capital of the Congo? I don't know where I'm getting Kinshasa from. All right, so getting my drawing tool here. This is what I was looking at yesterday, like 12 hours ago. And I thought that was interesting. Could be resistance. What else would add to the resistance of this? Well, first of all, you might be a bear on pound dollar. It's been acting bullish, right? Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher, right? Higher high. There still might be higher lows, but look at the gap from this bottom to this top, right? 200 pips, well, 150. So could be a short. Anything else going on in here? Well, whale oil B, if you go to weekly pivots on a smaller time frame, you might find that this and this is the projected high for the week. That's the weekly red zone. So let's draw that out. I mean, it was like that's the projected top for the week, something like that. Plus, it's a monthly pivot. And if you happen to be a bear, that could be a reasonable risk, reasonable return trade, right? Is it bearish yet? No. Excuse me. Is it bearish yet? No. But, at least if you're a bear, you should be looking for that at the very minimum, right? And how do you feel about the oscillator at this point? If it does head down, seems like it could fall for a while, huh? Nothing could go wrong, go. I'm in the gungo. Okay. So that's your piggy. That's your piggy. Why don't we switch this over? Change the currency. How does that look? What do you think? Total random coincidence? That we topped out here? 113.50. Pretty cool, huh? We're through the weeklies, but the monthlies held tickety-boo. What do you stink? Cool, huh? Up. Held. Seems like that monthly pivot was in play. Right? Retracement. Reasonable role reversal. Back to the pivot. Once again, monthly pivot respected. Eventually made its way up to the next level, in which the next monthly pivot was respected. Down. Check that out. Now the monthly pivot is acting as support. So what do you think? Based on this, would you agree that market participants on this Euro USD seem to be respecting monthly pivot points? Good. Now, you should wake up in a sweat in the middle of the night having a nightmare that you're trading Euro USD without monthly pivot points. Oh my God, where's the M4? Where's the M4? Where's the M4? Oh, it was just a nightmare. I didn't know where my monthly pivot was. That was just scary. What a horrible nightmare that would be, huh? It's probably how you used to trade. You are not alone. Okay. What I was teaching Traders Way clients yesterday was that I consider this an ECB no-fly zone. So that's a good place to get ready anyways, because it's already monthly resistance. Man, I got a frog in my throat and I can't get it out. Me. You. So anyways, that's the Euro USD. Yeah, it went up for a while and then it came down. Why? Monthly pivot points. That's it. You notice anything else about these monthly pivots? Just knowing that we're at the monthly pivot profit zone, what would you just assume in a textbook world the bottom of the market to be? What would the bottom of the month of August be based on just simple, basic, nonsense pivot point theory? No, M1 is not the right answer. Central pivot point, not necessarily the right answer, sorta. M2, thank you, Pen. M2. That would be the assumed bottom. So if you were writing a book, like I did, you would say a bullish market would have an M2 to central pivot point bottom with a target for the high end of the month right here. That's what your book would say. How cliche, huh? That this would be the bottom, and that's the projected top, and there we are. How stupid is that? Isn't it amazing that like the entire foreign exchange market, 40% of it is probably Euro USD, and it's trading like a cliche? It's fascinating, isn't it? Well, what I've always said is if you understand that theory, then at some point in your lifetime, either this week, next year, next decade, at some point you're going to wake up and be able to trade it. Maybe not every time it will work out that way, but at least you understand the basic mechanics, right? What most likely happened is you were probably a bear.
Summer market take effect here, the doldrums underwhelming any price action in the markets, both FX and equities. The European equity markets are off their worst levels in the lower third portion of their respective ranges. They're down anywhere from 0.5 to 1% in the major bourses. Seeing some of the peripheral yields a little lower. FTSE Mid off about 2.25%, and the IBEX 35 off 1.25%.
TradeTheNews.com. Is that it? And his summaries have been really short lately. So, if you can understand the basic theory, then it is tradable. Is the idea. In high school, when I played football, the coach said, if you could touch the ball, you can catch the ball. Okay. So very interesting. At least that's a top. Is this really shortable? You could sell it simply because of this. And I would consider it almost a scalp. Right? And your target probably would be here anyways. The next step would be a double top and then a test of this area. Then a retest and then down. And the reason I would do it this way, or would assume this way, is that I never assume a V-shaped reversal, and of course that's an upside-down V. I don't believe the Euro USD is just going to do this. Okay? Okay? So if it's not going to do this, it's going to go, Okay, and it's going to do this. And what is the analogy for how the foreign exchange market reverses? Finish the sentence. The foreign exchange market reverses like ... an old man easing into a hot bath. Luftle. So give it a second or even a third chance, right? This is sellable too, lower risk. This is sellable too, lower risk yet again. Now, why would the dollar suddenly get strong? Because really nobody cares about the euro. Nobody cares. What would bring this sudden dollar strength? Yes, but when is that? Yeah, when is the data? Good question. Of course it's a good question. September 21st? Oy vey. Man, this is good that I did this webinar today. I'm going on vacation for the weekend. I could have just skipped today, you know? Could be on an airplane right now, flying somewhere. Instead, I'm here with you, and we're discussing something that could be critically important. Yeah. Awesome. I mean, good. That was a good use of my time then. Cool. How about next weekend? What's important about next weekend? Huh? Eh? PCE, USD Mexican peso. Grandma Yellen's going fishing. Yeah. The Kansas City Federal Reserve Bank is holding an economic policy symposium in Jackson Hole. And there'll be some fishing and, belly shots, right? People are going to do belly shots off Grandma Yellen's tummy. It's going to be great. And she'll have an opportunity, as many of the people attending, to blurt something out to the press. Yeah, how about this? The Forex market eases like Grandma Yellen, or the Forex market reverses like Grandma Yellen easing into a hot bath. Yeah. To wash off the tequila on her belly button. Yeah. So, anyways, Jackson Hole, guys. Jackson Hole. That's before September 21st. By the way, what is September 21st? What's going on, Roger? What's going on that time of the month? Fed meeting. What else is going on? I believe the Bank of Japan is releasing a study. Oh, and OPEC. Yeah, but OPEC's dead anyways. OPEC died. They're already selling their yellow Lamborghinis for rent money. Yeah, I believe the Bank of Japan is releasing some sort of like strategy report. Could be interesting. Okay. As well as the Fed meeting. So I believe September is basically off the table, right? And we're thinking maybe December, and how many times next year? Look, well, let's take a look. Yeah, all right. Holding steady here. So, just so you know what this means, if you lend the government $99.59, they will pay you $100 back. Sounds pretty good, huh? Just based on December 14th, you can lend them $99.52 and they'll pay you back $100. And they are pricing in rate hikes. Cool. Look at that. July 2017. You can lend them $99.41 and they'll pay you back $100. And she's like, really? That's it? But that's the best game in town, right? Within reason, right? Certainly makes the euro look stupid. Okay. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. La di da di da. La di da di da da da. Come on. There we go. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Kind of move it out so I see it in the future, right? Mama, 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 mama. See this one? You could easily miss that one, right? Top, 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 top. Oh, what? Snap, huh? Trying to get that perfectly flat. What do you think about that? Oh, snap. So it's this lower high versus that bottom, right? So really what you got to do is draw one more. That's not quite it, is it? La 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 la. There we go. So what do you want the S&P 500 to do? Well, one thing that might be interesting is this bottom here. I will highlight it for you with something you can't see. That's a good highlight. Hang on, let's see if we can change the color. Lavender. How sissy. All right, let's do this. All right, you can see that. Okay, great. And then go on the daily, and now we're going to have to zoom back in. Now you can see it here. I know there's too many lines. I know. Okay. But you'll have to see that. I think you can see, right? I guess I can get rid of this line. Can you see that? So maybe, just maybe, just maybe, just maybe, just maybe that holds. And if you look back to this line now, we want that to hold because I don't even really want to test that 21. If this lower highs on us, then we're going down to the daily 50, and that's down at 21.41. That's way down here, right? And I'd like to just avoid that. Right? So if we can stay above that, let's go to the hourly now. If we could stay above this line, then that's hopeful, knowing that this is the daily 21. So right now, doesn't look that great, but you know, maybe it's just a Friday and next week could be the big rally week, right? In that case, we're just kind of stuck in a range. What? And maybe it comes down today, and then maybe it ends like this, and then maybe next week is a better week. Right? Don't know. But I'd like this to go up more than I'd like it to go down. That's all. That's called a bias, really. So that's all. Got to wait. Just I would watch it as a range. Is this important that it's 94.4% oversold? Is that relevant? No. Of course it's oversold. Everybody's selling it. Okay? It's not interesting. It's meaningless. Okay. So if we consolidate down here around weekly and monthly support, so let's say we do this and then we're back up to here, and okay, we do this, then what will happen is once price stops making lower lows, okay, and it's about to make another lower low, right? So therefore, this is going to continue becoming oversold. Okay. When it stops making lower lows, so let's just say it comes down into this cluster, and then stops making lower lows. Okay? Then this will move sideways. And then once it makes a higher high, which is certainly not a lower low, once it makes a higher high, it's going to want to come back into the trade zone. So it's going to look like this. And that's when it's relevant. That it kicked off support, and now, instead of making lower lows like it did this whole time, instead of making lower lows, it hits support and suddenly is making higher highs. That's relevant information. Okay? And if you do that in conjunction with your bias, then it's excuse me, then it's good. Right? You don't buy or sell because Stokes told you so. Stokes didn't tell you anything. Wow, Baltic Dry Index is still so low. Amazing. Came out 683. Amazing. The scrap metal business is probably doing very well. So that's the S&P 500, and that's sort of a risk-on, risk-off scenario. But I think extreme buying zones and extreme selling zones will be more interesting than moderate, because a lot of the traders are just not at their desk. And they just have the interns around. So the interns are only allowed to do something when it's at like key significant areas, right? Boo 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 boo. Boo 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 boo. Boo 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 boo. Boo 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 da boo boo. Ba da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Boo 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 boo. Boo 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 boo. Boo 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 boo. Boy, a little bit lower would have been great, huh? Boy, if you could get that at 95, could have been interesting, huh? Well, the cool thing is these are, these are reasonable moves. The upside here is a cycle level of 1. Isn't that funny? Very difficult to understand, right? 1. Parity. Bottom side 95, upside 1, right? 0.95. How interesting, huh? So, what if 1 week from now, Janet Yellen sounds bullish? Or should I say hawkish? Central bankers are never bullish, they're hawkish or dovish. So, the Fed is not bullish. let's say, are not hawkish. They're not necessarily dovish. The economy's doing okay, but it's not doing great. We don't really have inflation, but we do have full employment. It's interesting that if they're on the phone talking to the ECB, what does the ECB want? A strong euro or a weak euro? So if the Fed raised interest rates, would that help Europe? Would that help Draghi? Yeah, because the dollar would get strong. The euro dollar would fall. And the euro would weaken. So let's say we're at 115, the no-fly zone. We've been here 2-3 times before. Let's say it drops back to 110 or 105. 1,000 pips. Well, that'll weaken the euro. So what about the Bank of Japan? Does the Bank of Japan want a strong yen or a weak yen? So if the Fed raised interest rates, would that help Japan or hinder Japan? Once again, the dollar would get strong relative to the Japanese yen, and we'd move from 100 to like 105, 110, 115, something like that. Probably not 115, but let's say it goes up 1,000 pips over the course of, a few weeks. See what I'm talking about? Well, don't mix too much into the equation. If the Fed raises interest rates, the dollar should get strong. That's it. Some money will flow out of German banks, and right, they'll flow out of German banks or German sovereign bonds or treasuries or whatever you want to call them, and go to U.S. ones. Because not only will the interest rate be significantly higher, but the assumption that over the course of the next few years, the Fed will continue to raise interest rates. Okay? And that should just weaken the euro and strengthen the dollar. So right now, the euro dollar's gone up quite a bit, right? 500 or 600 pips, only because it seems less and less likely that September's on the table for a rate hike. So that's all. So maybe the Fed is on the fence as far as whether they should raise interest rates for the United States, but they also might be getting a lot of phone calls from like Draghi, like, please raise interest rates. We got to squeeze money out of the Eurozone. We got to weaken the euro. I can't create inflation with the strong euro. Right? Please get people out of bunds and put them into bonds. Please. Yes, and so on and so forth. But if Yellen has called Japan and said, Abe and more in particular Kuroda, if Yellen calls Kuroda and says, look, we're not going to do it, then Kuroda is going to need to do something to weaken the yen. Which could be good because that could get us maybe slowly back to 110. And then in December, the Fed raises interest rates and gets us to 115. And that could really help Japan. And that could help our carry trade, right? Man. All right. So that's that. Did we do pound already? Ba 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 ba. La 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 la. Okay. Pretty easy stuff. If you're a bull, you're getting ready for your buy zone. And if you're a bear, right, if you didn't sell the reversal pivot, then the next idea is this. What do you call this when price makes an obvious higher high? Oops, but stochastics does not. Rogers is double bottom. I think if you're trend trading, you would assume a lot more than that. Okay, divergence. And what does divergence actually mean? No, it doesn't mean reversal. You can interpret that as reversal. What it means is that bulls have been taking profit. Okay? So, you have a big question here. On this bounce, did that attract new money? Did more bulls get in? No. The market moved up, okay, but there isn't significantly new money. And in fact, as we got up here to this area, it's suggesting that the bulls are actually taking profit. All right, so it spiked up from here to here, and everybody got out, like they're supposed to. Shouldn't be shocking. It's just evidence that it's happening. Otherwise, the oscillator would have made a higher high. Okay. La 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 la. So one possible trade plan if you're a bear is this. Okay. The next trade plan would be like that. Oops. Like that. Right? Do you really want to hurt me? Do you really want to make me cry? Whoa, 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 whoa. 618 predicts what? What extension? Ba, 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 ba. Ba, 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 ba. There you go. 1382. So, is there any inflation in Canada? Let's find out. La 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 la. All right, so this goes back Wednesday, was it? Our trade plan was to sell that. You can still see the trend line. We actually sold it here at the beginning of New York, as you can see, because that's when I do my daily webinar. And you know what's interesting about that? 4-hour 21 EMA was right here. Drop, significant pullback, New York open, boom. Wah, wah, wah. So in that, for New York, you 73.5 pips. Cool, huh? And today's open was the bottom. Interesting thing. Wednesday. So on Wednesday, we already knew to trade the CAD, and the CAD was on the 4-hour 21, which is a dynamic level of resistance in which you sell lower low, lower high, New York open, down into Friday, and then we knew that that would be, right, take profit day. So today's open is the yesterday's low. But also notice you could basically, depending on how you calculate your pivots, because they don't have to be super, super, super precise, you could basically call that the weekly target, right? The weekly aggressive target, weekly S2, like good enough, right? How neat is that? But this had to do with oil. So our projection, and you might find this hard to believe, but our projection in like November and December of last year was oil prices were going to come down, and then when it bottoms out, it's going to go up to 50. Well, it went up to 52, Crimea River. I mean, it was 6 months in advance, right? And then once it got to 50, it was going to come down to 40. And then, all right, Crimea River went to 39. And then once it was at 40, it would go back to 50. Once again, Crimea River, it's 49 and a half. So this idea of going from 40 to 50 should strengthen the Canadian dollar. But when we got to the 50-ish area, that strength should diminish. Understood? So taking that forward back to the kitty CAD, you would assume that this week the Canadian dollar would be strong, right? And last week the Canadian dollar should be strong relative to the US dollar. Then you get the down, up, down. And then, of course, right as we're hitting $50 a barrel. Like, so yesterday we got to 49 and some change. Canadian dollar suddenly, all its strength suddenly disappeared. What an amazing coincidence. What do you stink? Smell like a plan? No, spank you very much. So oil could go up a little higher, but I would assume we're closer to the end. And what else is happening today that could impact the value of the Canadian dollar? The rig count, thank you very much. Now, CPI, I'm assuming that already. Besides that, the rig count at, what is it, 4 o'clock? Is it something like that? Does anyone want the link? I'll give it to you because I'm that kind of guy. I'm going down in a burning ring of fire. I go down, 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 and the flames get higher. So let's review the price action. Down into the weekly support, wimping out, Asia open, right? Lower high, higher low, double top, double bottom, higher high, whoop, whoop, shields up, red alert, and that's Tokyo, bro. Tokyo, bro. Roll reversal, boop, boop, boop. Okay, right at the Shanghai. That's what you want. Shanghai open, roll reversal, long dog. Higher high, higher low, higher high. Okay. This is small time, right? Now you got to change time frames. Fades into roll reversal again. And by magic, London Open, up, up, up. Okay? So what do you do once you've made a higher high relative to this high? Oops. Okay. Unfortunately, we're not breaking through the high. It's starting to feel divergent, right? Like people are taking profit, but that's probably due to the news. And so what I'm looking at here is sideways action here, and this probably lower high, which would then be divergence. But it's really because people are getting out before the news. What I wanted to make sure you saw was how the price action works. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, all right, good call. Nice analysis. Hey there, Freddie boy. Ooh, Credit Suisse just dropped a limit order on Kiwi dollar. Little scalpy scalp, 71.80, huh? 71.80, and they're trying to make 25 pips. Credit Suisse is going for a 25 pip trade. Oh, no. Oh, I see what they did. They moved their limit from 71.80 to 72.05. All right. They just moved their stop. They moved their limit up. That's all. All right. That's fine. Here we go. We're going to use tradethenews.com. Ooh. Indonesia just cut interest rates by 50 basis points. Yeah. They only pay 6% now. That's it? You going to buy the rupiah? All right, so let's get tradethenews.com going. Tradethenews.com.
This is a 24-hour live broadcast test channel from the Trade the News Broadcast Network. If you are hearing this message, your sound card and network configuration are working properly.
So price index for July, non-seasonal adjusted expected is 0.0%, year-over-year expected 1.4%, core expected 0.0% and 2.1%. Let's get Canada retail sales month-to-month for June expected 0.5%, ex-autos expected 0.3%.
So we're in next week's buy zone if you're going to buy and hold over the weekend.
Canada CPI at minus 0.2% month-to-month is 2/10 lower than expected. Year-over-year 1.3% is 1/10.
What a shocker. Yeah, apparently there's no inflation in Canada. Really?
Sales for June at minus 0.1%, 0.6 lower than expected. Ex-autos at minus 0.8%. It's more than 1% lower than expected. With back month buys down 1/10 to 0.8%. Ex-autos.
Kicking off the DR2. So just with your mind's eye, with your mind's eye, let's assume that this area here is next week's central pivot point. If you're a bull now, you can assume below this is going to be the M2. So let's just guess it's about here. And what's your target next week? M2 to M4, so your target would be like here, right? Wouldn't that be next week's pivot points? So let's do something we haven't done in a while. Hang on. Indonesia. La 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 la. Bank Central Republic Indonesia. Wow. All right. Let's go, dog. Let's go. Let's zoom this in because it's so far away I can barely read it. I have to sit forward. Do you really want to hurt me? Uh. Broad money growth. That's not what I want. Where's the news that just came out? Come on, Indonesia. Where do you put your latest info, maybe? Broad money growth, broad money growth. Is that what I want to see? No. I want to see their pre-release calendar stuff. Debt statistics of June. What is this nonsense? They just cut interest rates and they don't even have it on their website? Come on, Indonesia, public information, contact glossary, stability regulation, media room, maybe. Latest info. Broad money, G20 strengthened post-Brexit cooperation, but that, what? No. None of this makes sense. That's their latest info. Check maybe press releases. That's the 5th. Look at this. They just slashed interest rates and they haven't even updated their website. All right. Well, forget it. Let me just make my comment here. Indonesia does not expect to see an improving global economy. So you just have to, I can't prove this. You just have to go with it. Maybe in a week they'll update their website, right? Because you can't get anybody in Indonesia to update a website, right? So anyways, they don't see the global economy getting better. And guess what? They actually said this. Maybe it's just a secret. Maybe it's just my sources. Shh. A birdie told me. But they only see one Fed hike this year. So that means they're thinking December. Government spending in Indonesia in the second half could be cut significantly. Therefore, lower domestic growth. Therefore, lowering the interest rate makes sense, right? Reiterates that they will guard the Indonesian rupiah to be in line with the fundamentals. And they see a manageable core CPI. But volatile food prices. That's for various reasons. So they're like, yeah, food prices are going to go through the roof, but besides that, inflation is going to be stable. Right? It's like in the United States, inflation's low, right? Except my house has gone up in value by 40%. Oh, yeah. But besides that, inflation's low. You're like, well, that's significant. And think about my buddy. He bought like 7 houses during the downturn. Paid cash for all of them. I'm like, why did you pay cash? You should have loaded up on debt. Said you could have put all your cash in the stock market and doubled it, and you own all these homes, and you're only paying like 4% on something that goes up 10%. but he used cash. He didn't want to be in the stock market, so he just paid cash for all 7 houses. Do you really want to hurt me? Ba 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 da ba ba ba. Okay. So now you got to come up with your plan. What are you going to do next week? So I've already gone through it where you were guesstimating where the central pivot's going to be, and based on that, where the M3 or the M2 is. So let's try to simplify our lives here. I got a lot of things going on here from previous analysis, but that's what happens when you trade plan. So this is next week's central pivot point. So if you're a bear, right, we know that this is bearish territory, right? And that you want to be short this on Monday, or when Monday opens. If we're up here, you got to get ready to sell. And if this is the weekly central pivot point next week, then we know down here, right, this is going to be the bullish territory. And that might have what started in Asia already, right? So if this is the CPP, then this is way up here, M3 somewhere, right? And down here is going to be M2, right? And so we know bulls want M2 to M4, and bears want M3 to M1, and amateurs don't know what the hell's going on. And we love them for that. Just imagine hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people lining up your door at your front door every morning with piles of money. Thank you, sir. I don't know what I'm doing, sir. Here's my money, sir. And I'll say, thank you. May the pips be with you. And then he leaves, and the next guy walks up. Thank you, sir. I don't know what I'm doing, sir. Here is my money, sir. And I'll say, thank you for that lazy trade. That was great. Then he leaves. The next guy comes up in line. Hello, sir. I don't know what I'm doing, sir. I was chasing price, sir. I saw a giant green candle, so I bought it, sir. Here's my money. I'm like, thank you very much for not having a trade plan and being reactionary in the market. That is fantastic. Then the next guy lines up. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I opened up a $200 account, thought I'd be a millionaire by now, but here's my money. It's only $50. I'm like, yeah, well, it all adds up to me. Thank you for your $50. Next, right? And all these people with no trade plans, no patience, no discipline, no understanding of the market, no understanding of technical analysis, no understanding of fundamentals, and they're just winging it. How awesome is that? Just make sure it's not you, right? Is it your fault they're lazy? Is it your fault they have no trade plan? Is it your fault they don't have any discipline? Is it your fault that their mommy and daddy didn't raise them right? Or maybe just the world was bad to them or mean to them, or the world just didn't work out. They were born in the wrong family. They were born in the wrong country. They were born in the wrong time frame. It's not your fault, right? In fact, it's not your fault at all. You sold at resistance and it went down. Or you bought it at support and it went up. You're just playing by the rules, right? It's like, do you hit on a pair of jacks? Yes or no? Hmm? You got 20 sitting on the table. Maybe you split it, right? But you don't hit 20 when you're playing 21, otherwise known as blackjack, because you're not supposed to. let's say it's a king queen, so you can't split it, right? So you don't hit a king queen in blackjack because you're not supposed to. It'd be foolish, right? You're trying to get 21. What's the odds that you're going to get an ace out of that deck of cards? There's 50 cards left, and only 4 of them can help you, right? 46 of them can bankrupt you. So you don't hit it. It's not how you play the game. It would be stupid. So why would you buy at resistance, right? It's like, well, you didn't do it to be mean to the other people that are lazy or undisciplined, the ones that lack a trade plan or any sort of comprehension of how the world works. It's not your fault. You're not trading against them. You're just playing the rules of the game. You sold at resistance. Good job. So is it your fault some idiot bought it at resistance? Because remember, if you sold it at resistance, some idiot bought it because you're paired up against the opposite, right? It's a zero-sum game, right? Have you ever thought about that? Where you decide to sell at resistance and your order gets executed, right? Trader's Way puts your order in and it's executed within milliseconds. Well, some idiot is betting against you. What an idiot. Right? I kind of like to think of it that way. And the reason for it is if I make a decent trade and I lose money, I don't blame myself and beat myself up because then I can lose confidence and stuff, right? I think, what kind of idiot bought that pair at that price? That would have been stupid. Now, they're bigger than me and they moved the market, or they took a big gamble and won. You know, the odds were not with them, and they took the shot anyways, and it worked out. Well, it's not my fault. I still wouldn't have done it. Even if they made money and I lost money, I still wouldn't have gone the other way because I had a trade plan, right? So if my trade plan fails, I often think, what kind of moron would buy this pair at a weekly, monthly reversal pivot cluster that should send this down? And for me to not make money on the short means some loser, some big loser bought this. Maybe it's a central bank manipulating the market. Maybe it's a huge corporate thing that is just moving money because of the end of the month or the end of the quarter or something, and you're like, wow, it took me out. But the odds were for me, right? That's why I like to think of it that way. So therefore, it's not my fault. It was just someone bigger than me did something unbelievably stupid, and therefore, I'm going to have to take the loss before, the market can stay irrational longer than I can stay solvent, right? So, if someone bigger than me wants to push me around there, so be it. But I'm still going to play the rules of the game. All right. Well, peace on earth. May the pips be with you. May your profits be above average. And thank you to FX Street for being wonderful people. There's no moderator like our moderator, like no moderator I know. So thank you, moderator. Have a wonderful weekend, guys. Peace on earth. May the pips be with you. May your profits be above average. And remember to plan these trades out. Did anyone take the scalp? Yeah, and Andrew got it. Abdul got it. Right on. Well, if it does make a higher high any second, I'm going to get on the nervous train. So I'd have my stop close here. The reason for it is the reverse fib. Okay. So that's where a bear is going to sell. So if we don't giddy up, then I want to giddy out, right? So it's just where they're going to challenge us if you're a bull scalping long. Because remember, like I said, this is next week's DM3, or sorry, WM3. So they're going to want to sell it here and hold it. So if it comes down, take the loss, take the break even, whatever. But don't have your stop like way at the bottom here. So it's a scalp, remember? So if you bought it on this retracement, it's supposed to go up. That's all we care about. And if it doesn't go up, then the scalp failed. Go ahead and take the 4 pip loss, 8 pip loss, break even, and move on to the next trade, right? This is just income. But it's looking all right, right? Now, if this gets green, then move your stop probably to break even or at least just below there. And hopefully this runs up, right? And then if this runs up, do you take your profit or do you just jam your stop at break even and say oil's going from 50 to 40 and this thing's going to go up for the next 2 weeks? Well, that would be interesting now, wouldn't it? Just remember, Credit Suisse shorted this. Oh, wait, they canceled it. Forget it, they canceled it. They just canceled it 2 seconds ago. They had a short at 129.15 and they just took it out. They canceled it. So anyways. Hey, so once again, peace on earth. May the pips be with you. May our profits be above average. I'll see you sometime again soon. Remember, open up an account at tradersway.com. I love you, babe. Got to jump.